For the last 5 years, we have been subjected to seemingly endless cries of fake news. And not so ironically, the person crying the loudest has been the #1 purveyor of fake news. From his claims of Obama tapping his phones in Trump Tower, to Dr. Redfield supposedly being misquoted to the Washington Post, only to have Dr. Redfield clarify just moments later that he was in fact quoted accurately, no one has pushed fake news more than our current president. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the people who buy it, consume it, regurgitate it, and don't seem to have any idea how to guard against it. We now have a political party in America which has embraced a dangerous conspiracy theory, the one known as QAnon, with several candidates for public office embracing this nonsense without censure from party leaders or, and I don't think you'll be surprised by this, the president himself. How did we get here? Well, I think there's a pretty simple answer. A sizable part of our population has been ingesting fake news their entire lives, going back generations. They were taught and raised to believe in fake news and taught never to question it. Indeed, since they were toddlers, they were taught to be suspicious of anyone suggesting that they should question or doubt the fake news which has been shoved down their throats forever. And these very same people are the ones overwhelmingly devoted to the king of fake news, Donald Trump. I'm talking about the religious, of course, and evangelicals in particular. This is the granddaddy, the godfather, or Father God if you're Protestant, of fake news. There is no book in human history more filled with bullshit than this thing, with the exception of this thing. But it's not about the contents of either. It's about people's slavish devotion to the bullshit they're in. This guy, for instance, has devoted his entire life to defending the fake news in the first 3 chapters of Genesis regarding the origin of the universe, the earth, and life thereupon. For all intents and purposes, Ham and his followers, I call them hamsters, are fake news professionals. It's like having a doctorate in tooth fairies. Just think of how entirely filled with fake news this one book is, and how many people believe it. It tells us that the earth is very young, death too. Humans have only been around for 6,000 years or so. It tells us that everyone on Earth spoke the same language just 5,000 years ago. That millions of Jews were enslaved in Egypt. That God ordered genocide and the murder of homosexuals. People devoted to this book believe that the sun was stopped in the sky so that the children of Israel would have more daylight in which to slaughter people. Men, women, children, babies, livestock even. It tells us that some people can raise other people from the dead, with hydroxychloroquine, no doubt. That some supposedly can walk on water. And I'm not talking about Chris Angel here. He can do anything, of course. If this were any other book, if it had been published recently, it would be considered a work of unrivaled hate and indecency. It wouldn't be allowed in school libraries. It would be considered a book for abject morons. If nothing else, it would definitely be considered a work of pure fiction, and those selling it as purveyors of fake news. When the population has been brought up to believe and embrace such bullshit, that half of the population will be susceptible to damned near anything. Child sex rings in pizza parlors being led by prominent politicians. W being competent enough to make 9/11 an inside job. And now, demon semen and Q. When the core of who you are and what you believe is fake news, truth, reason, evidence, they will have no place in your life. And you will be the target of every con man and snake oil salesman on the planet. Sadly, many of these people will be caught hook, line, and Clorox, and with absolutely no way out. Thanks for watching. Satire comes in lots of flavors. There's the amped-up, overtuned feeding frenzy of mockery kind. And then there's satire that leaves you laughing and thinking as a result. That's what the Mr. Deity channel's all about.